If you have COVID but don't feel sick, you no longer have to stay home for 5 days. Action News Now reporter Sade Pullen has what you need to know about the California Department of Public Health's loosening pandemic rules.
The COVID-19 emergency declaration created special rules on handling the sickness, but now, nearly 4 years later, there is now some loose requirements. The California Department of Public Health says people in California with COVID may go about their lives without isolating or even testing, as long as there's no symptoms, meaning you can go out in public worry-free. So do you think that COVID tests are really needed since they're now looked at basically like a cold or a flu?
I think that it's a good idea to test if you have COVID. That way you know what you have. It's nice to know if you've been recently infected. And it helps you know that masking would be a good idea.
I went to Bidwell Park and spoke to a few people about their thoughts on the guidelines being lifted, and many agree with public health. They tell me since we have vaccines and have more knowledge about the illness, it's not as serious as it once was. Although he didn't want to show his face on camera, I spoke to one man who had COVID 7 times.
You told me you see COVID as something as simple as a cold or flu. Do you want to explain why?
Well, that's just been my experience.
Okay, you haven't had anything too dramatic for you to...
I don't think it wasn't as bad as the flu.
Public health tells me although there is no requirements, they still recommend getting vaccinated and wearing a mask if you are sick. Reporting in Chico, I'm Sade Pullen with Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
I reached out to Shasta Union High School District. Superintendent Jim Clooney tells me they will be implementing the new guidelines and eliminating that 5-day isolation period effective immediately.